Everyone, this is Allie again from Teens Run DC. So the little TED Talk topic of the day is mindfulness. So just to begin, I want you to think about where your focus is at this very moment. So are you thinking about what's for dinner? Are you scrolling through Instagram? Are you worried about something that's not happening currently at this present time? Just try to figure out where your mind is kind of going right now. So I'm going to jump right in, and then we're going to get back to why that activity was important. But I'm going to talk about what mindfulness means. So John Kabat-Zinn states that mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. So I'm going to kind of break down what that means. So on purpose means that it's a deliberate and intentional effort. So it's not necessarily happening automatically. In the present moment means you're focusing on what is currently occurring, and your mind isn't focusing on what has already happened in the past or what will happen in the past. So it's really focusing on the here and now. Non-judgmentally pertains to observing a thought without placing a judgment on it. So you're not labeling it as a negative or a positive thought. So say you feel really angry at this moment. Experiencing anger is neither a good or a bad thing. It's just the emotion you are experiencing, and it's okay to feel that way right now. So that's kind of a mindfulness 101, just breaking down what the definition means. Whenever I talk about mindfulness, I always utilize this visual that, honestly, if you Google mindfulness right now, it's probably going to show up. But it's essentially these two little stick people, and it's sunny outside, and one of the stick people is thinking about the sun and the clouds, and you can tell the stick person is thinking about the present. And then the other one has thoughts that aren't really related to what's happening at the moment. So it could be homework, it could be work, it could be dinner, it could be literally anything that has happened in the past or the future. And then the caption below is mindful versus mindful. So play on words. One is full as in F-U-L-L. So your mind is full of thoughts that aren't happening right now, versus mindful, which is, again, being present in the moment, in the here and now. So I always think that's a great idea to kind of differentiate, the difference, kind of highlight what mindfulness is. So why is mindfulness important? Researchers believe mindfulness leads to an increase in awareness and acceptance of cognitions, which in turn results in enhanced mental efficiency, allowing individuals to be more attentive during a task instead of focusing on their internal experiences. Benefits of mindfulness can extend to clinical and non-clinical populations and include an increase in emotional regulation by decreasing the rumination of thoughts, a reduction of anxious and depressive symptoms, and an increase in working memory and executive attention. So as you can see, it's just kind of overall various benefits. And this is even for non-athletes. So pretty much anybody. It's kind of interesting to see these benefits of mindfulness. There are various mindfulness practices out there that are kind of available for anybody if you have access to the internet. So there's mindful meditations, which include, a mindful body scan. There's mindful breathing exercises, mindful walking exercises, and mindful eating exercises. So I personally have found that I'm more of an active mindful practicer, in the sense of I tend to do better when I'm focusing on something that's not just me sitting down. So I really enjoy mindful walking. I think there is a lot of great videos on YouTube and audios, probably through various spaces too, that help walk you through in mindfulness walking meditation. Those are things you can do. I'm going to focus now more on performance relationships with mindfulness. So typically mindfulness benefits have been associated with increases in flow states. So flow is a concept that is often related to performance and has been defined as the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else matters. So typically flow, I know personally when I was an athlete, when I ran in college and high school, I typically had my best performance when I wasn't really focusing on anything outside, just focusing on my focusing inward, focusing on what's happening in the moment. I didn't really think much about what I should be doing. Everything just kind of came naturally. So flow is kind of that state. It can also be seen in pretty much all sports and also in all kind of performance states as well. So typically flow doesn't always lead to peak performance, but it's been suggested that flow is a precursor to peak performance. There are other various ways where mindfulness has played role in performance outcomes. For instance, mindfulness cues have helped college musicians incorporate creativity to their music. Mindfulness interventions can increase mindfulness in athletes and in turn enhance flow and their performance by reducing distractions and focusing on the present. In terms of work performance, a mindfulness intervention in an emotionally demanding job was found to decrease emotional exhaustion and also increase job satisfaction. So those are just kind of some ways to show the importance of mindfulness. I do always want to emphasize that mindfulness doesn't happen in a day, but it also doesn't really take a lifetime. Various studies have shown that even after only 3 months of meditation practice, individuals were able to be more efficient at shifting and focusing their attention. And then only 4 days of mindful practices resulted in improvements in working memory and executive functioning. So if you're one who's looking for empirical evidence as to why mindfulness is important, that's kind of why, and kind of shows that you can definitely make a difference in a couple days and a couple months of mindfulness practices. So yeah, that's kind of a short little blurb on mindfulness. I actually did some research in grad school on mindfulness, and specifically it was a mindful yoga intervention. So if you have any questions about mindfulness or specifically sport-based mindfulness practices, there's a ton of research out there. I can also help you out too.